Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Navigating Mental Health Stigma. I'm here with Alicia today. Lachelle could not join us, but that is perfectly fine. She is busy with some family things, and we hope to have her back soon. I do want to remind everybody before I start today that we are not professionals. We have created Navigating Mental Health Stigma to navigate the mental health issues that we go through on a day-to-day basis, go through our struggles together. So this is our space to really vent to each other about what's going on, as well as eventually interviewing other people to understand their struggles and what they go through, as well as what they do to overcome it. So that's really what we've created this space for. And I just wanted to send out a reminder that that is what it's about. So if you guys have questions or if you guys want to talk about it, let us know and we can have you on to kind of get to know you better, as well as understand your ways of overcoming it. Today we're going to actually talk about exercise because we feel like exercise has been one of our biggest ways to overcome a lot of our struggles. And Alicia is like the super stretcher. So, what is it that you really do on like a daily basis to kind of overcome your anxiety?
No, and it's true. I tell all my loved ones, like, you need a stretch every day, right? When you wake up, get the blood flowing, PE stretches, fine. Not everyone, we talked about this, not everyone's some yogi, right? Like, you just need to stretch and move your body. And so I do that every morning. I wake up and I stretch before I go to bed. I stretch out my legs, my arms, or whatever. Um, Legs, yeah.
Kickers.
But yeah, so it does. It releases so much tension because a lot of our stress and anxiety, gets to us physically anyways, we got neck pain and things like that. So you stretch it all out. It's a great outlet either way, right? You talked about us exercising and we're not like marathon runners or anything, but we know to keep
Okay.
active and it's like a great like yeah, I'm not. But I'm a very like, um, stretching, push-ups, things like that. But no, it's a good outlet. So I do that every single day, stretch every single day, and maybe listen to music while I'm doing it, right, to relax me.
I feel like one of the first times we hung out, I was like, girl, what do you do? Because your body is so toned. And I'm just shocked at how toned you are from just
I
like stretching and doing push ups. Because for me, I would go to the gym every morning to like, and try and get toned. And my arms never like look as toned and slick as yours. So I was
oh
immediately
no, you look
just
good.
like, hey.
Oh my gosh, don't even. No, and so when I had gotten my endo, right, I've told you about this a bit. I gained a lot of weight, and I've always been real fit because I played up or grew up playing sports. So
Yeah.
I was always fit, and then my endo stuff happened, and I gained a ton of weight, and it was not comfortable. And everyone knows, right? It's just easier on your body and your heart, breathing if you are a lighter, healthier weight. So the stretching, yeah, a lot of it is just a lot of strength training because I was restricted for years from doing cardio. And
Right.
my last year in the military, I couldn't do any cardio unless it was at my cardiac rehab and supervised by a doctor. So I just learned ways to do pull-ups or push-ups, planking, right? Like these are all, I mean, Pilates is hardcore, but I get it. And it's a little extreme for me, to be
Pilates is
honest.
a lot, man. I've tried
It's
that.
a
I
lot.
can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend Felicia and I did it one time, and I swear, like, we couldn't even laugh the next day because our abs were so sore, and it was like, "Oh, it's very effective," you know? But strength training, like, slow and steady is just as important. You don't need to go run and do cardio all the time, right?
Right.
It's a lot of, like, moving yeah. Like, I get all, like, embarrassed about it because it's like, I'm not like some weightlifter, but no, I have to
Why do
say
you get
quickly.
embarrassed? I think it's great. I think it's awesome that you don't
Mhm.
stress yourself out to like lift weights and work out and like be all super hardcore about it and that you're still toned. I feel like that's super motivational to those of us who want to be toned to just stretch every day because I know that I do not stretch every day. Like feel
Mhm.
like ever since I met you, I tell myself I should just do what Alicia does and stretch every
Yes,
day, but I
you've got
don't
to
do
stretch
it.
every day. Yeah, no, I tell everyone just stretch every day, even if it's just like in the morning, like I said, 15 minutes. And I have a really good friend, Kendra. She does like mind, body, physique. And she pushes that so much, like 15, 20 minutes a day, right? Of just moving or whatnot. So it's something that just needs to become a habit, a part of your daily routine. Now I can't even like I just don't feel awake if I'm not stretching. I also have my baskets that I lift, right? So if you think about, look at that,
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's the weightlifting I do. Khaleesi, she's poor thing, she's getting a little old and big on the bottom, so she can't jump up and get
Oh,
in the car by herself. So it's like I've got to stay fit for my girl.
just gotta keep lifting your dog. I
Yeah, I've got to be strong for her. No,
love that.
but yeah, having like I posted something on my Instagram not too long ago, but having like endo or a lot of other medical issues or whatnot, it helps like with my symptoms too. So my body's in a lot of chronic pain just, all the time. And so being active and moving, it literally can take away or lessen at least some of those symptoms that comes with that. So it's important for me personally, not just to like you know what I mean? It really helps.
Yeah, it helps you actually feel better and not being in as
Mhm.
much pain as you could possibly be. That's pretty.
And I think that's what I try to get across to people. It's not necessarily like everyone wants to be fit and look good and healthy, but for me, it's not about looking good, right? Like this is the result of the same with you, all the hard work you put in, to eating healthier, working out better. These are just the results that happen with a lifestyle like that. So it's more about being healthy on the inside, and it's just the bonus that you get to kind of, have that confidence in how you look, which is
Yeah,
why I do some of the
okay.
stuff I do. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's really I don't know. That's how I feel.
I mean, honestly, when was okay, so when I was 22, which is like 10 years ago, right? I would do
Mhm,
yoga twice a day. And
mhm,
I think I started doing yoga when I was like 20. I want to say 20 is when I started doing yoga. And I mean, it started with like every evening. And the best way that I can explain how yoga feels to somebody is that, the morning stretch, and you're just like, oh, like it feels so
mhm.
good to wake up and stretch. Like it's like that, but everywhere all over your body for an hour.
Right.
And you would start off and you only push yourself to the limit that your body can handle. You never go past that. Like you
Mhm,
just go to whatever is comfortable for you. And eventually, like you can reach your palms to the floor and you can
right.
eventually bend in half and you can eventually do all these crazy little things that you couldn't do at the beginning. But it takes a long, patient time to get to that point. And I think a lot of people, when they first do yoga, is that they just assume they have to push themselves past their limit to get to that
Mhm,
point instead of accepting that going slow and steady wins the race, right? Um,
yeah.
but then it like progressed to me doing it twice a day where I would wake up in the morning and do it because I knew it felt good.
Mhm,
I mean, at first it's like your body is really stiff and so once you finally get going into your yoga flow, it feels really good. But it also helps you like channel that now moment. And I
like
say it like,
meditation.
yeah, I was like,
Mhm.
I'm so honest with you guys that I don't do yoga like at all right now because I have no
Right.
space for yoga right now. My room is really tiny.
It's
uh,
okay.
I'm like, but once I do get my space again, that's the plan is to wake up in the morning before work and do yoga outside and just kind of
Mhm,
relax and then go into my office space and do whatever work I need to do. Because it does really channel that now moment and it kind of breaks you from having that anxiety attack just because your anxiety is really triggered by the fact that your mind is constantly going. So if you're trying to
right.
fix a situation and you're thinking about all the problems that can happen in this situation, your mind just keeps going until you have an anxiety attack and it's just like this.
Right.
So if you can get into a moment of where breathing, right? Because like that's yoga breathing is such a major thing because you're so focused on your deep breath in, your deep breath out, like you just let it
Right.
go while you're doing yoga. Because when you're focused on your breathing, you can actually hold positions a lot longer than if you're like struggling to hold your breath in a position. So you always find that center and focus on your breathing again, which is super, super helpful in anxious situations, is just going back to that yoga breathing, which I think
Yeah,
today we'll
it
kind
can
of go over that a little
totally.
bit more, huh?
Yeah, no, and even so, I don't do so much yoga. I've done yoga. I don't practice it, every day. I don't take yoga classes, but even breathing and doing cardio or, the type of like push-ups, exercises, things I do like that, you have to focus on your breathing. Runners, it's a big deal. So it's not just, it helps overall, like you said, to like center yourself, but it also helps to make your body healthier and maybe not necessarily push it further, but to its, what it should be able to do. Like we're super young, we should be able to, breathe walking upstairs and stuff like that. Like, so you need to stay healthy also. And the breathing for me, sometimes when I get upset, when I'm not exercising or anything, that's when I start to think yoga breathing, right? Like center myself
You're
and
like, whoa, take a step back and just
let's not react. Let me just take a deep breath and think first, but it's intentional. So the whole breathing and the centering, it really helps to remind you, like, let's just evaluate what's going on right now. And then we'll figure it out after this breath or two or three. Some people count to 10 or
yeah.
whatnot, but you're still breathing, like you're controlling your body so it's not freaking out into this anxious, even panic attacks.
Well,
You
too, I
gotta
mean,
just
you're
keep
spending that time
breathing.
counting in your head, you're like breathing in for 5 seconds, then holding your breath for 5 seconds and letting it out. Or I think they call it technically like 847, I think it is,
Mhm,
where you let a breath out for 8 seconds and then you
mhm,
breathe it in kind of quickly 4 seconds and then you hold it for seven and then breathe out slowly again for eight. But
mhm. I
because of
might try to
yoga,
do it.
yeah, I'm like, because of yoga, I just do like 555,
Mhm.
because I like everything to be
Right. No, that's a
same.
good number. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I just do 555 for me, but because you're counting those seconds, you're not focused with your brain on whatever the issue is that was
Exactly.
causing your anxiety to begin with.
Right. You just because like we spoke about the running of the mind, I think that's what causes a lot of anxiety to get further and further into maybe a panic attack because you can't just calm down and now your body's reacting to how your brain is obviously going right now, right? Like it's a reflection of like this is what's happening in my head, my body's freaking out.
And I feel like that's been my biggest thing lately with my anxiety is that I try to catch my anxiety starting before it happens, because
Hmm.
I hate the pressure in my chest and I hate because it feels like I'm having a heart attack or what I would assume a heart attack feels like,
Right.
which is how I found out I had anxiety is because I've gone to the ER like twice this last year for massive anxiety attacks that made me think I was having a heart attack. Like my entire chest hit so hard, that everything went numb. And I was like, oh
Hmm.
my God, what is that? My mom was freaking out, like, you need to go to the hospital. And I went, and they were like, no, you're just having a major anxiety attack. Have you ever had one before? And I was like, well, I know that my mind runs and then I do feel anxious. I was like, but I've never had an anxiety attack this bad. And then a few
Hmm.
months later, some other things were happening in my life and it hit hard again, but I had a burning sensation in my chest for days before I went in. And I'm like, okay, this isn't normal. I don't know if I'm having just like major heartburn or what's happening. Mind you, COVID is happening too. So, I'm
Right.
like, what the heck is
Who
this?
knows?
My
Yeah.
lungs from like being sick like months before because I never knew if it was COVID or not because they wouldn't test me because I'm considered healthy. So when I went in the second time, they were like, "So what's happened is that you've had a major anxiety attack, and on top of having a major anxiety attack, has caused your stomach to kind of, because I also have gastroenteritis. I like suffer from gastro issues or whatever with my stomach. So because of that, it like gargled up acid into my chest, which caused me to have heartburn mixed with the anxiety attack.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to take like heartburn medication daily, but the doctor was telling me like, I know you don't want to take anxiety medication. He's like, if I could prescribe you anxiety medication, I would prescribe that to you today because it's really bad. But if you'll please just call and talk to a therapist and really discuss your issues, try it that way to see if you can talk through your anxiety and figure out things, because I really am worried that you're going to keep coming back with how bad your anxiety attacks are. And I was like, all right, like I've been defeated. I will call and talk to somebody about my anxiety attacks. So now I kind of witness when they're starting to come on, and I notice it because my brain will just keep going, and I'm like, okay, center
Right. The
yourself,
brain.
breathe, be in the now, like it's okay, you're not in this bad situation, you are in your room, you're with your cat, you're out walking your dog, like you have these things to be thankful for, and it just really helps it go away because I'm constantly focusing on that breathing when it starts to strike, and then reminding myself that I do have such positive things in my life. But it's so hard at first to like acknowledge when those moments are there.
Yeah, and that's so important too, is self-talk. So big about being positive and you are what you think you are or things like that. So even the breathing helps with that to kind of, get the mind to stop running and you can take away the negative thoughts. That's what's probably causing the anxiety and stress. Both of us are like a very what if, and you can't worry about stuff like that.
No, because we can't control what is going to happen. We can only learn to flow with what's going to happen. And being somebody, I feel like maybe that's a control thing. Like I know that I like to control a lot of my situations because I don't like want to be sideswiped by something. So I think I try to think of every possible outcome of a situation before it happens so I can avoid drama. And I not that it helps.
Because we can control it.
Can't control it. Still get the
No,
anxiety attacks. Still get the drama. So like,
you can't
might
control
as well
other
just
people
focus on the
either.
breathing.
Yeah, and that's what helps to remember that you can't control other people, their thoughts, or their behavior, right? Unfortunately, we've been in some pretty not so lucky situations or been betrayed by people. So it's hard to not think, well, what if? Because some of the people we've loved the most have hurt us the most, beside going through, our sicknesses, our struggles with loss and things like that. We have to deal with also things like betrayal and people just lying to you. So it's hard to get into a situation with, whether it be personal, professional, after you've already been kind of screwed over in both forms by a lot of people. And I think that's why we have a lot of anxiety too, is it's kind of trying to control some of the maybe PTSD, like we talked about, and recognize we are not in those situations anymore. Like you said, it's different. It might be the same feeling that's coming on, but it's not the same. And a lot of anxiety is caused from those types of PTSD, unfortunate, experiences we've had.
I'm like super accurate, dude. I just
No, it's hard, and it's hard to explain that to people because now you're trying to dig in the past and be like, well, here's the story of me, and this is why sometimes, I've got to chill out a little bit.
yeah.
And that's, yeah, and not that it's not okay to share those things, but we're also not people, from, knowing you and just myself, who make what's happened to us, who we are. So we've healed through a lot of it, which is why we
Yeah,
can
I
talk
mean,
about it.
we don't try to victimize ourselves to where it's like
Right.
an oh poor me situation. It's the I went through this entire process to become the human that I am and to hopefully help others to not have to experience it as badly as I did.
Hmm.
Mostly because, like, I know how much grief can hurt. I know how much losing people hurt. And I hate the idea that other people can know that feeling, that they can lose people and feel like they've lost everything. Like your world feels like it's stopped, but it keeps spinning around you, and you're going, "What the fuck am I supposed to do?"
Hmm.
So yeah, when we go through things like that, we definitely don't want other people to feel what we've felt, and I think that's why we have had become super close, and like our relationship has become so strong is because we are very similar in that aspect where we just want the people around us to feel good.
Right. And be
So we do
happy.
what's necessary, but it does cause additional unwanted or unneeded stress in our lives because we're trying to make everything perfect for other people as well, even though perfection is in the eye of the beholder and doesn't really exist, like
No,
we
it doesn't
overdo it.
exist. Yeah, and that's what it is. I think exactly like you said, and that's why we worry so much about the people we love, or we're always there for them, and we make a point to go out of our way or exhaust ourselves. Not in a negative way, but like you said, it is very exhausting. It's energy consuming, and it can cause a lot of anxiety as well. Because now, what if you can't figure out, someone you love and they're having a stressful situation and you don't know what to do about it? I know that stresses both of us out. Like to feel helpless when someone you care about is going through something
I mean, it's
is
really
stressful.
hard, dude. It's hard when you have to tell somebody, like, I'm not capable of handling,
Mhm.
all of this situation because I've never had to navigate it before. Therefore, I don't know what the right
Mhm.
thing is to do here. I don't know how to fix it. And so when other people you love are struggling, it's like, I can help you find help, I can help you breathe. Like I can remind you to breathe. I can do all of this, but I can do it better
Mhm.
through like
Mhm.
visually seeing you so I can know like I can get you to breathe with me. But it's you can't fix everybody's problem, and it's such a hard thing to remind myself on a day-to-day basis.
And that not everyone's problem is your problem,
Yeah.
right? Which is why we take such a commitment to try to help fix everyone's problem or try to keep everyone happy. Because, like you said, in the end, we just don't want anyone to feel the way we've felt. And I've told some other friends who I love so much, things like that in situations where they're just like, oh, you know, it's like a blessing in disguise or whatever, breakups, things like that. But it's like, no, I'm not going to be rude or vengeful. And that's the other thing. We're not like that. So we get stressed out when we do get betrayed or whatnot, or someone just completely screws us over. It's because it's hard to understand when other people can kind of treat you that way when
Right,
they
because we wouldn't wanna do something like that to somebody else.
right, and people expect to be treated, in a respectful way, but some of those people are the worst people when it comes to, trying to be in a relationship or work with them. They're so selfish, and it's okay to be selfish in the things you want, right? These are our lives or whatnot, but selfish in the fact, like the whole get over it
Yeah,
or
disregarding somebody else's feelings, really.
right. Yeah, that's not okay.
I
Oh my
feel
gosh,
like
I'm all
that's, like, my biggest thing is, like, telling people, you can feel how you feel, like, it's okay, I'm not gonna push your feelings down your throat and tell you not to feel them. I definitely think that's one thing I want people to understand, that it's okay to cry it out, and it's okay to like tell people that you need help, but at the same time you have to be willing to help yourself. And I think a lot of people have this assumption that if I tell one person I need help, then they're going to fix everything as opposed to helping me find the right way to fix everything because they're not a trained professional. And that's something that even I had to learn. I know, like, with one of my exes, I was always kind of upset because I would tell him everything, and then instead of him trying to like be helpful to me, he would just kind of disregard my feelings, or eventually he'd be like, I can't help you, so I don't know what you want. And then there was another one where I was kind of like, it's not something you can fix. And I think it comes off a lot more mean than I want it to, because it's not like, my grief is not somebody else's responsibility to fix.
Well,
And
and that's where other people get confused. They take it personally
yeah,
how you're feeling if it's negative, even if it has nothing to do with them. And I know both of us with, like my ex-husband and, one other relationship, it's really was the standard was set or implied most of the time that it's not okay to have anything but positive emotions shared,
right.
right? Like, I don't want to hear about it or see you. You're too emotional. You cry, this, and that. And so it's hard for us to open up to people because we've been, you know, pushed to the point where we have to become so numb to all of these emotions that it's like it's not okay to feel. And that's what we're trying to do here too. And that's why we talk to each other so much, is because I think we both understand, like, no, it is okay, like you said, to feel these emotions. It has nothing, if I'm pissed off or something, it has nothing to do with you, but I can still express it and vent in an angry, stressed out way, and you're not gonna feel like it's towards you because it's not. And with other people, they just not, and it comes to not listening, because like you're not listening, you're just seeing how I'm reacting, and now that's making you uncomfortable because I'm always so happy and smiling, and all of a sudden now I'm crying or I'm upset, so it's no one wants to deal with it.
Yeah, they're just kind of in shock that you can feel any other emotion.
Right. And
But I do think it was something, I feel like when you're grieving, it's hard. Especially if it's a new grief, or if you've never had to deal with death before. Or, I mean, I lost a lot of friends and stuff in high school, but losing friends in high school was nothing like losing my brothers and my grandparents and Alex, like, all those put together are so much more life consuming. You just
mhm,
feel like you've lost such a big piece of you, especially my brothers. Like, my brothers are parts of my heart, like, I have four pieces of a heart, because I have three brothers and two of them are gone. So now I feel like I have half a heart. That's how I explain it to people. I just feel like my heart's
mhm,
been shattered. And so when I first had to learn to navigate grief, I was just, I didn't want to put my burden on other people, especially after losing somebody, because they didn't know how to handle it when I did finally open up about it. So I had to learn that it's okay to feel how I felt on my own. And then I also had to learn that some people can handle it and some people can't, and that it's not my fault if they cannot physically and emotionally handle what I'm going through. Because at first I really destroyed myself, that I wasn't good enough for this person because they couldn't stick around for when I was sad. And it wasn't my fault, but I couldn't process that it wasn't my fault. And I also had a hard time, like, separating my anger or my sadness that I felt for this loss of these people, from my personal life that was still moving around me. So I would be sad or depressed or something, and immediately I would kind of feel like, me, it has to be somebody who's alive that's making me feel this way, instead of being like, no, it's because I have lost so many people that I hurt inside. Like, it's okay for me to be sad because I miss these people who are no longer here, and that it's okay that it's not somebody who's alive or in your life. It's not their fault that I'm sad, you know? And it was such a process for me to separate all of these things and accept that my sadness or my anger or whatever I'm feeling on the inside has nothing to do with people that are living and has everything majority of the time to do with my losses. And I have to just like, I mean, you know me. I will have a tendency to just kind of disappear from the world. I won't message back. I won't say anything. I will just disappear, cry it out, and then come back and be like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, I was just having this emotional breakdown because I needed to let it out. I mean,
You
we had,
needed me time, you know? Yeah, sometimes we need our own space, and we talked about this before, is, it's totally fine, and that's what we understand with each other, is it's okay to kind of not hear from you. If something was really wrong, you would let us know, and sometimes we let each other know that, like,
yeah.
"Have a good day,"
I mean, I literally
"Sorry."
cried to you last weekend. So,
Yeah, and it's totally fine. I don't take it personally. Lachelle doesn't take it personally. Either way, back and forth, and that's why we're in a safe place for our emotions, and that's what's so necessary. Is it's not that you have to try to convince people that you're strong or whatnot, or try to make them be there for you. Like you said, you just have to accept sometimes those people maybe aren't the right people to be in your lives because of the things you are going through, maybe you're going to continue to go through. We've talked about losing family and loved ones. That's not something to ever get over. And sometimes there'll be really great memories that make you happy, but of course, you're going to miss them. And it's okay to be sad as many times as you want for as long as you want. Because, like you said, they're gone, they're missing, and there's no one who can fill that void ever. So, how can someone expect it to just go away and,
oh
oh,
no,
I'll be fine in a few weeks? Or,
it's something, honestly, it's something that will be with me the rest of my life. I will have good days. I will have bad. I don't even think it's bad days anymore. I mean, I think there was like 24 hours last weekend where I was already having a very, very sad moment just because of a picture, you know? But it's rare when it's a full day like that anymore. I feel like it's more of it comes in waves and moments, and there's like you said, moments where I see a photo like that and I'm just like, oh my God, that was such a great memory. And then there's other times where I'm going to see that photo and just like cry my eyes out and wish I could go back to that moment. And it is something that I've had to learn to accept. And I think a lot of people who deal with grief for first time really have to learn to accept within themselves, especially knowing that how Americans are, taught to be strong. Um, but I think exercise has definitely helped me a lot with controlling those emotions, and not so much just controlling. I know that there's been moments where I've done yoga and at the end when I'm just like in my meditation state, I will just cry my eyes out and I kind of let all of that emotion that I had maybe not let fully flow just flow out of me. And then the next day I just feel like $1,000,000. So, but it
right, and
takes
I'll
like
do that. That's
exercise.
the only time I do cardio is, you know, I'll jump on an elliptical. I hate the treadmill and I hate running outside, but I will, run until I just can't, I'm too exhausted. Like you said, where it's all let go, I'll cry running, after 25 minutes of just like trying to win a race,
Yeah,
that's not existent. And it's like you just go really hard, and it's a great outlet, which is also why I exercise a lot, because it's one way to relieve that physical tension, and the
yeah,
breathing helps with the mental tension and the mental anxiety, and it just makes you overall, it makes you feel better, right? Like we talked about, it makes you look better, it makes you healthier, and
right.
just walking is great exercise. They tell you, you can walk after you eat and stuff, or if you want to clear your mind, just go for a walk. And now you're exercising and relaxing in your own space. Sometimes we just need to take a walk or a drive. I take drives all the time to breathe.
I'm like, honestly, I love driving
Hmm.
to breathe and focus. I just like either put on music or I just think about everything, but I'm driving and I don't know. It's
Yeah,
super
and we talked
helpful.
about I like that's why I love it because if I'm driving by myself, I'll just put up my radio and find any song that I know so I can just keep singing to it and not think
For
about
repeat.
anything. Yeah, and I feel so free. I tell everyone all the time because I drive so much all the time everywhere. And I'm always like, I love driving. It's the most like private, relaxing place to be on the freeway. I mean, I don't like, just local
I love
driving.
driving the canyon. It's
Yeah, like
yeah,
scenic route, right? Going to the mountains or going along the coast or something. It's so distracting from the stuff that stresses us out in life. And it's like, oh, this is beautiful. This is real life. Nature is beautiful. I hike a lot. So
yeah, me
that's
too.
great exercise too. I hike with my veteran walk and talk group. And that alone, it helps all of us. That's why we do it together. We can be alone in a sense, but not really alone, right? Now we're in nature and some of these hikes are pretty extreme, and it's great exercise. We all use it as a form of, I guess, therapy, you can say, but
Mhm.
it's also a support group and accountability too. A lot of people can't get out to the gym, not that anyone can right now, but
Right.
even harder, it's hard to work out at home. You're distracted. It's a very comfortable environment. Some people like unfortunately right now, you're kind of waiting to get your space for yoga. So it's good there's always somewhere outside to go.
I
You
definitely
have
feel like
dogs.
I've had no slacking in exercising outside since COVID started. Um,
Hmm.
I do know, like, in my old apartment, Blue and I would drive over to this trail and hike like a mile and a half uphill and then come back down every morning. So we do like 3 miles a day. Um, and now it's just like we just go outside the house and down the street and then turn around, come back. But we do it like 4 or 5 times a day. Like, I'll take my 10-minute break in between my breakfast or in between starting work and lunch. I'll take a 10-minute break and I'll take her out and we'll do our walk and then we'll come back. Then on lunch we go again and then second
Right.
break. So we get like 5 shorter walks throughout the day, which is very helpful. But I really love taking her on hikes. Like
Yeah.
to new places because then it's something about being in nature too with exercise that's very helpful, I think, to because you're just like you're looking at new things and new surroundings and the sky is so beautiful, especially like if there's little clouds or like a sunrise and a sunset, like something that
Yeah, and that
really
we
focuses
go so
positive.
early. Yeah, and there's bodies of waters you can go and hike to waterfalls and rivers, and it just reminds you, like you were saying earlier, that we are here. Life is beautiful and there are good things around us, and not everything is just this fast, busy, constant grind and working and drama with people. You know, you can go and kind of disappear for a little bit from the world when you go out for a hike or go out into nature,
Cell
go walk along the beach.
phone off.
Yeah, and that's what started it. It's true though.
I grew up riding dirt bikes, so
Mhm.
and that's still one of my outlets as far as stress and things go. I know some of my best memories are camping with my family and riding and just enjoying an entire weekend at races or whatever it is that we're doing with dirt bikes.
Mhm.
And it is one of those things that you're so focused on all the fun that's happening around you that you really forget about every single problem in the world. And now that we're on the topic, when I go ride, I don't know if it's an anxiety thing, with age in my eyes or what, but I see spots everywhere that I can't even see the road, and it
Wow.
seriously is bothering me so much because it's not I think about that now when I'm super stressed out, I'm like, "Oh, I could just go for a ride," and then I'm like, "Yeah, but what happens when I get on the bike and I can't see the damn road?" Like,
Mhm.
it really freaks me out. And I'm like, do I get a quad now? Do I get just a side by side? Because I don't know if it's anxiety. Like, I know I need to go see the eye doctor and figure out
Mhm.
what's triggering it, because I feel like it is like a maybe I want to say lack of oxygen to the brain, but at the same time, I focus so much on breathing,
Right.
yoga
Maybe
breathing.
are you maybe a little, like, afraid? You know how we get older and we're more aware of, like, we can get hurt doing this
I
or
think it's
you
anxiety. I think
yeah.
because my anxiety has gotten worse with age, it's actually triggering some sort of like cataract eye situation. I'm not 100% sure. I do know that I carry some sort of gene, according to like 23andMe, that I will lose my eyesight over the years and it'll disintegrate fairly quickly, which is why I think I try to find so much beauty in photography and the things I do now. Because I know eventually I will more than likely be blind because I carry this gene. And I'm kind of thinking that it has something to do with that gene and my anxiety that's causing me to just see like it's absolutely insane. I wish it's like what are they called? Kaleidoscopes.
Yeah.
You know how like you can mess with the kaleidoscope and it does all that great. That's what my eyes do when I'm riding dirt bikes now, and I'm just going, that's not safe and it's not good. And
Yeah, no, no, no. Of course not.
I was
God
like, that
forbid you
used to be my
black out
major stress relief.
riding,
Yeah,
you know? No, you can't. You can't do that. No, and it's true because that's why it's important to be mentally healthy too, or try to get through stuff because panic attacks, stress causes real physical medical problems.
yeah,
I've had so many like panic attacks and anxiety attacks and I would get leisures and stuff and I mean it causes real problems to have anxiety and stress. And that's why it's important to deal with it because you can make yourself sick unintentionally, you know.
sadly. Let's go ahead
Yeah.
and leave people with a breathing exercise. So we're going to breathe in deep for 5 seconds, hold it for 5, and then let it back out. Ready? I think everybody has different fives. But it's definitely a good one. Just breathe in and hold it, and then breathe back out to help you find your focus when you are having an anxiety attack or any other sort of attack. If you guys have any exercises that you like to do, please let us know and we can give them a try, as we are always looking for new ways to help us navigate our mental health. And thanks again for watching Navigating Mental Health Stigma. I hope you guys have a good week. Bye.